What's poppin', everybody? Back Monday Night Football, Week 5, round out the week. It was a crazy-ass week this past weekend, Ty. How did Sunday go for you? Were you part of some of the mayhem that went down? Did you capitalize on it? What was good?
Yeah, well, you know me, prop better, so can't say too much about can't say the craziness of the games really affected many of my props. Obviously if you're betting spreads, that shit was insane. I will say I'm thankful for Drake May's game-winning drive because I had James Cook under rushing attempts. And if that game went to overtime, that shit was shocked. So shout out Drake May for just being an absolute dog out there and not giving them 8 seconds left to try and get a field goal. I appreciate you, Drake.
Drake fucking turned up, showing the boys that he's here to play. That was dude, that was such an ugly game. I was sitting there in the first half. I saw reports after oh, great game. Don't get me wrong, obviously a game coming to the wire is going to always be crazy, but I'm like, bro, if you're telling me that first 2.5 quarters of that game were fun, that was some of the worst football I've watched. All the penalties.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was bad. And just fumbles. Okay, I will say I had Stevenson. Eric, I've been loving these first quarter lines that FanDuel and DraftKings post. I had Stevenson over 7.5 first quarter rush yards because his line is super close to Henderson and everything, but he's the starter. But they always bake in fumbling, benching risk and stuff into that. And he fumbled on his second touch. So, that kind of sucked.
Yeah, absolutely. Still found the end zone though. So they definitely gave AG the ball more than he went down. Trey Henderson was getting the ball more, but then it was back to Stevenson for that final touchdown there. All right, brother, let's talk about it. We got Jaguars, Chiefs. Ty and I were talking pre-stream. There's nothing that we love pre-flop. The way that the market settled, let's dive into some of the odds here. At least we'll start on the money line. We can also look at some of the odds move. Pretty stagnant throughout the week. Ty, I know you're a prop better. We're going to get into all of the props as well as first touchdowns, use all the FanDuel boosts. We'll give you guys a whole breakdown of the game and find some value on the board here. But Ty, with the Chiefs, their running back situation, when do you start expecting Rashad Smith to start getting carries? Is that now, or you think Pacheco still has a chance to reclaim a backfield here?
No, I think Smith's season is upon us. I will say straight off the bat, one of my strongest leans of the night is a Pacheco under 38.5 rushing and receiving yards. I didn't actually play it because it does feel like the market's pretty, in tune with that, just being at 38.5. But Pacheco, dude, I mean, he just by every single smart person, if you look up Pacheco, he's just literally one of the worst running backs in the league. He just doesn't have a very high IQ either. I know we all watched that Giants Sunday Night Football game where, it's backwards pass and he just doesn't even go for it. Just little shit like that just doesn't put him in good grace of the coaching staff. And I think that Rashard Smith, I'm kind of buying it. Not I'm buying that he plays 30% of the snaps. That's what I'm buying.
So right now we have Kareem Hunt 35%, which is something that I'm not surprised about just because it's been what they do, right? Kareem Hunt has been taking their goal line carries, their third down carries, so he's been that back for the last 2 seasons. Pacheco, 31.1%, but like you said, very inefficient there. But Rashard Smith, so let's look at some of his numbers here because I actually tend to agree with you. Ty getting some love in the chat, hasn't lost a bet since 2024. I mean, I know how Ty cooks. Thoughts on him, long shot Mahomes 5 touchdowns and feeling a Kareem Hunt touchdown. I definitely could see with the Kareem Hunt and Mahomes. Crazy odds for over 4.5 TD passes. We'll take a look at that first in a second here. But rush yards right here, MGM even money on over 11.5. Looking at the rest of the market here, that is definitely the best price of market we're getting though. 12.5 plus 118, 14.5 plus 112. Currently on the season 9, 13, and 2. We can go by rush attempts, only 1.8, but we're seeing a little bit of a ramp here. Got those 4 rush attempts against the Ravens, but I don't know, Ty. It's one of those situations where I feel and we've talked about this many times on stream, with uncertainty, we might as well go hunting for some bigger numbers, right?
Yeah, for sure. I like an alt receiving or something. I think that playing into that makes sense. Or you could, go the other way and take Pacheco under 1.5 receptions or something like that. Yeah, I agree though. Taking laying juice on these are my two boys who are in here. Actually all my 3 boys, Ozbets, Eric, Jake. Hell yeah, dude.
Love that. Thanks for stopping in, guys.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I wouldn't take like a minus money Brashard Smith prop because at the end of the day, like Reed's an old school coach and stuff, and like you're gonna be like punching your screen when Kareem Hunt's like rushing for 2 yards of carry and Smith like maybe doesn't see the field. Like that's definitely like in the range of outcomes.
And that's why, like, again, like Kareem Hunt, like the beginning of the season here, he has been getting those carries I mentioned, especially these goal line and these like third down, like chain moving conversions, only one touchdown this season here. But looking at the red zone, like we looked at, he's got those 6 red zone rushing attempts, and Mahomes has to go Superman mode, and he's getting the other, 40% of the rush attempts in the end zone. But they keep pricing Kareem Hunt in this like 250 range. Where is that due time? More, you think, just like, because obviously the numbers are supporting him running the football in these situations. So that's just the market also just saying like, yeah, he's getting these touches, but he stinks. So that's why we're kind of keeping him at 250.
No, I like it, dude. I like my boy Eric. Like he said, he's feeling a Reem Hunt touchdown. I kind of am too. Like honestly, he like if you need 2 yards, he's gonna get you 2 yards. If you need 4 yards, he's gonna get you 2 yards. So like I mean, shit, if the ball's at the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, he's damn sure gonna be in the game. One thing I do want to say too is like Worthy. I know Worthy like popping up really late on the injury report is kind of suspect, but like with him playing, dude, like this offense is night and day without him. Like he just brings an element to. He takes so much pressure off these like the Kelseys, Hollywoods, Juju's who are like meant to be role playing receivers and not meant to be like top options and stuff at this point, especially Kelce. And just his speed, and the Chiefs are willing to throw the ball downfield now. So I think that you could make an argument that maybe the betting market is just a little bit low on the Chiefs offense in general,
which I think is a little bit of a surprise situation. So the Jaguars have been one of the better run defenses this year, slowing down. Like first in success rate heading into I think this week, they were ahead of like the Browns coming in, as well as like the Packers, some other these really stout teams. But the Chiefs pass offense, like we already see how much of an impact Xavier Worthy has on this team from an offensive standpoint. Of course, when Rashee Rice comes back, I could expect the Chiefs to, I would say it's like so weird to say for the Chiefs, but like I think that they're definitely going to take a step forward. Like this is still like, it's probably a little bit too late now, but these are the times to be buying in on some like Mahomes MVP as well as like some Chiefs AFC. Now the odds, coming to this week, it's probably more neutralized, but before that Ravens game was definitely probably a time to capitalize on some of these long future props for the Chiefs. If you're in the same boat as I am, I mean, it's undeniable their offense is going to get better when they get Rice and Worthy back, or have Worthy now, but when they get Rice back, what you think their ceiling is, of course, is like like to be determined and is debatable. But to me, Ty, like the Chiefs are as good as the Chiefs always are. I don't understand how they're still not like classified as one of these top 2 teams in football.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they should be the favorites to go to the Super Bowl. Like, I mean, yeah, like out of the AFC, obviously. Dude, Eric, they were like minus 160 to make the playoffs after they started 0-2. I was like looking at that, and I don't even really bet like futures midseason, but I'm like Patrick Mahomes is not missing the playoffs, but they did kind of look like shit, and Worthy's injury was kind of questionable, but we also, and also to be fair though, maybe I am overrating the Chiefs offense because I mean, Eric, I'm sure you watched that Texans Ravens game where the Texans offense has looked like straight dog shit all year, and then they look really, really good against them. So it might be like a Ravens defense thing too, I guess.
But the injuries to the Ravens defense though in that game was absolutely absurd for the Texans. And the Texans, like we talk about being due and like how it's like not true, but like in certain situations could be true. Like while true. The Texans offense is. So you're telling me that wasn't kind of like a Texans offense with like capable weapons, wasn't like a little bit of a due spot after how the season has started for them at least?
Yeah, they were. And especially now that they're playing like the rookies more, like Higgins is clearly talented. Woody Marks is clearly talented. I think that they were just playing like bums. Like Chubb was getting like all the carries and Hutchinson was like playing like 100% snap. So no, I agree with that. And that's true. They were due.
So no, I mean, like, listen, like I think we're also like forgetting how good or like Rashee Rice when he comes back is going to be. Like he is going to be their 9 target a game kind of guy with obviously running after catchability. Like he is their guy. He is their new Kelce.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Rashee Rice is like a 30% target share guy when he's playing, like 100%. He's going to be a stud. Well, I will say too, Eric, what's your thoughts on this? So, I mean, it's dicey because, the health status and stuff, but Xavier Worthy, I think, is like a little bit underpriced personally, and his lines might even seem high to the naked eye. But I'm just like even like a rushing receiving, because he might just get like an end around for like 20 yards, and you don't want to like leave that out. Dude, he's just like by far the number one option here, and he's like they're using him downfield. They're using him close to the line of scrimmage for yak. Like they're featuring the hell out of him in the Mahomes offense that is going to pass the ball 37, 38 times a game.
Yeah, and they're doing a great job like getting him open. Like he's gonna have those deep downfield shots. He's gonna have those quick passes that he's capitalizing on 8 targets in that game in his first game back against the Ravens. I'm really curious. We had that one target in that quick time in Brazil before he unfortunately got knocked out of that game and couldn't play. But the market though is definitely moved on the news. Like, of course, seeing Worthy pop up on the report is going to have the market move. But like you said, Ty, now the question is, has it moved too much? Rush plus receiving at 66.5 over here at Hard Rock. I doubt that's that available. Let's see. We're seeing
FanDuel has one.
Oh, FanDuel 65.5.
Yeah,
very nice. I actually like that a lot as well. Like that's too low, especially because this Jaguars defense that we were talking about earlier, they're a pass funnel. Like they're able to get attacked throughout the air rather than the Chiefs with their inefficient ground game. I know Andy Reid and Matt Nagy, for whatever reason, are going to like take a long time to abandon their ground game because they just, like you said, love running hunt for 2 yards, even when they need 4. If they need 2, we'll give them 2. But this number seems low for that. I actually definitely agree with you here, Ty, because I saw the rest of the market earlier today. I was looking at just receiving yards, and 59.5. It definitely moved. This was at like 62.5 ish itself.
Yeah,
and
good news.
Now rushing receiving is up there as well.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any videos of him warming up or something, just to like confirm that he's moving really, really good. So I think like alts too, Eric. Like, I mean, because if he goes for 100 scrimmage yards, would you be like shocked? Like, I wouldn't like whatsoever. But also, if he limped off the field in the first quarter, would you be shocked? Probably not.
That's the problem too, and this is probably not the right way to think about it. But when you have a guy with like such a tiny frame like that, it's like everyone loves to talk about injuries, and like obviously in the NFL they're unavoidable, and obviously when you take massive hits, regardless of how built you are, you get caught in the wrong place, like you're gonna have a chance to get injured in the National Football League. But I do feel like the guys like him, like a Hollywood, who we know has been hurt all of his career, I do feel like nervous. I feel like he looks frail out there. Like he looks like he can get snapped.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I'm looking at some of the boosts we have today. So on FanDuel, they give you a choice of a 30% profit boost or a 50%, but it had to be on a 3-leg parlay. The 30% could be a straight bet on anything. I took the 30% boost. So we have that on FanDuel. And on DraftKings, all I'm seeing for tonight is, I'm in New York, by the way, so I think it does vary state to state, a 25% profit boost to use on the 2-leg parlay. So they're giving us the 2-leg for 25% boost. But my max for this is actually $25, where normally when they do like a 33% 4-leg or a 3-leg even, my max is somewhere between 5 and 10%. So DK, at least for my account personally, is getting a little unique this week on their promos.
Yeah. Yeah, Eric. My greedy ass is opting in for the 50%. I have a couple things I like to I think are pretty correlated here.
Love that. I love that. Looking at some other boosts we have here. If you have an MGM, I'm not seeing an SGP token, so feel free to use that on your MGMs if you guys have that, and Caesars will take a look as well. But Ty, so we've already talked a little bit about Smith getting involved. You like Pacheco going under. We like Worthy. We touched on some alts. Are you sticking to the Chiefs, or are there any Jaguars that are catching your eye?
Oh yeah, for sure. Honestly, I have a lot of leans here. Well, one of them is very correlated. I think that the oh crap, hold up. I got a work call. I got to quick take this.
You're all good, brother. So I was looking at some Jaguar stuff myself, and De'Ami Brown came off the screen to me a little bit. His number was very low. I think it was it was 28.5, and we're seeing some EV from Outlier right here on De'Ami. Shutout here in this Houston game. But that was a game where obviously they could not move the football. Cincinnati, 57 yards, 52 yards. He did get banged up in one of those matchups as well. I know he missed a game, but De'Ami Brown, like we have Brian Target leading the way with the target share. We know how he's had his problem with his drops. Brenton Strange, the tight end, is doing really well. Travis Hunter right there. Parker Washington exclusively in the slot. But De'Ami Brown gives him a downfield presence. He is somebody who, like we saw in the first two games of the season with the Jaguars, and then, of course, in a tough matchup with the Houston Texans defense in that rock fight in week 3. 7 targets and 4 targets against Carolina. Obviously, a bad passing defense went over that number. Against Cincinnati, another pass defense went over that number as well. But this seems to me to be way too low for a guy who is on the field as much as he is. I'm going to pull up FTN as well quickly and dive into some of the more like route running stats that he has. But De'Ami Brown is absolutely like a reliable target for Trevor Lawrence at this point. And I'm going to pull up some of the route rate numbers here. Give me 1 second. Looking at Chat Hill, seeing Tootin TD. I mean, listen, I'm in for a Tootin TD. We're going to check the odds there. Right now, we're currently looking at some Kareem Hunt stuff, we think, especially from a touchdown perspective, is probably good, and some worthy alts as well. But let me pull up FTN here, and we'll take a quick peek. We'll go to the Jags, and we'll look at some of their receiving stuff here. And we'll take a look at De'Ami Brown and his usage. We have like a snap percentage share. We have Brian Thomas, Brenton Strange, Travis Etienne, Travis Hunter, Parker Washington, De'Ami Brown. Only 3% missed that 1 week here. Only played 3 games, but 46.6% of the snaps. They're running a true traditional 3 wide receivers with Strange, with Hunter, who of course plays some defense. Parker Washington is exclusively slot, where De'Ami Brown can play on the outside a bit. So I think that De'Ami Brown is one of my favorite Jaguars here. And the Chiefs, looking at some of the history against them, this is something I love to look at as well on Outlier. We see how the receivers do. So DeAndre Hopkins, he does not do anything, or did not do anything, but we know his role is very limited. Rashad Bateman's the WR2. They're not doing much. Neighbors going down there. Wandale could not get anything going, but again, this was the Russell Wilson game where they just blew him up. And something I saw on stream, on Twitter, that I think is worth calling out on stream the other day is something that is really interesting. When it comes to late into games, there are like situations where, we see them like clockwork throughout prime time, throughout Sunday slates for all of our years watching football, where we'll see there be like too much time left on the clock at the end of the fourth quarter because a team is trying to make a stop, but they're either going to then let the team score, and then it actually gives them a better chance to win the game rather than getting a stop, letting up a first down, letting time keep ticking off the clock. And Steve Spags is going to throw some really crazy blitz packages at Trevor Lawrence. Like, he's going to consistently come after these guys. So I think that this is a situation where there are definitely some value on receivers for the Jags, because if they're able to separate and they are able to protect a bit against the Chiefs are capable of getting beat in the passing game when there are, quarterbacks who are going to actually take some chances here. But look at who they faced. They faced the Eagles, where you have Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, Jahan Dotson. Yes, the Eagles won that game. Then you have the Russell Wilson game, where, of course, they were completely shut down. Then a Baltimore game where Chiefs ran away with it. Zay Flowers still got his. We know the Ravens like to throw the football and do it well. Tight ends not doing anything. Running backs, Cam Scattaboo in that debut ended up turning up. This is receiving yards as well, but he was turning up on the receiving package here. But my point that I'm making here is, I think that the Chiefs could be susceptible to the passing game overall. They're only allowing 124 receiving yards, but the matchups that they faced for KC, I don't think who we've seen so far with the Giants. The Chargers, of course, tore them up week 1. The Eagles, before they went pass heavy whatsoever. And then the Ravens, who, still had relative success, at least giving it to Zay Flowers there. And out of the backfield, Derrick Henry and Justice Hill did a good job. So I'm interested in some De'Ami Brown stuff. We're going to build out parlays with the boosts as well as find first touchdowns, but we're just going to add some picks to the slip of guys that we're staring at. We have Worthy, De'Ami Brown, and let's take a look at Tootin here. I'm encouraged by him a lot, honestly. I think that he is, very talented. That's definitely not the debates when it comes to him. It's more just about what's his role going to end up being. These are receiving yards here, which I'm still intrigued by. And I'll pull up some stats here. Let's go back to FTN quickly, because I want to look at running back, and we'll go to usage here. We'll look at total opportunities on offense. BTJ still absolutely killing it behind Travis Etienne, but Tootin is right there, right under there. Only 4 targets in the 3 games, averaging 1.3 a game, 13.3 yards. So we know he's explosive. He can get out of there. But the routes run. We have De'Ami Brown here fourth, again, talking about something I liked as well. Just over ETN, who isn't who they love. They love LaQuint Allen in the third down passing game. So, like, he could be a sneaky guy as well for maybe receiving props if his numbers are low. But this also could add value to Tootin because, yes, the snaps are going to Allen from that receiving yard or from a third down back perspective. He's going to be on the field with the third down back. But there's just no odds for him regardless, even though he's been involved quite a bit. Again, 29.7% route rate. If you go to some rushing stuff, I'll go over FTN again in 1 second here. Only 3 attempts on the year, so they're definitely not using him in that situation, but he is getting on the field a decent amount. Same, like technically higher than Tootin in playing those 2 games. Of course, Tank Bigsby was there to start the season before they made a move here. The Quint Allen 16-1 as like a crazy long shot. Isn't out of the cards there, but let me go back to Tootin, and I want to look at his odds because I do agree that he could become a bit of a game changer because his skill set is so good, and that's what I love about the NFL. You're always going to get guys who kind of come out of, I wouldn't say come out of nowhere because of course there were great college players were scouted, drafted, but are just like really like look like they're like moving different out there, and I think we get a little bit of that with Tootin. 2 TDs on the season, scored with ETN in this Jaguars-Texans game, scored also against the Bengals, unable to get there against the Niners, which is not really surprising there in that game that was dominated by ETN with a massive run. Crazy turnovers as well. Receiving yards, 832, going over his number of 2.5, because his target share is so low, literally 1 target, 2 targets, 0 targets. But this is something where he can definitely get over in 1 catch. And looking at how running backs have done against KC in the passing game, King Henry flew over, Justice Hill went over. Tyrone Tracy was basically like replaced in that game in terms of being like the RB1-2 Scattaboo, who of course flew over that number. It's very low, but let me see what some alternate lines are. Only up to 24.5, and this is only at MGM for Tootin receiving yards. So let's just pull that up regardless to see where the because I do want to just pull this up. Let's go to MGM. Let's look at Tootin. Let's make sure this is like available because this is interesting to me. This is very, very low, and I wish that we were seeing some alts like up to like 10s and whatnot. We will be betting first TDs, by the way. We will be using all the boosts. We're just doing still some more holistic game overview type stuff. But this Tootin 110 is interesting. I'm going to wait for Ty and get his thoughts because I am curious if I'm tripping here because I don't think I am. Like, I hate that it's only available at MGM. Market has been fluctuating just a bit between these 2 numbers. You kind of are hoping on like a 100% conversion percentage from the passing game, which is definitely not something you want to bank on. But from like a matchup perspective, a snap share perspective, Tootin has definitely got my eye. Let's add everything that we're looking at so far. So we're looking at some Kareem Hunt stuff, and we'll lock in everything that we want to finalize. We're interested in his anytime 255 at DraftKings is a very good price. I'm sure we'll be putting that together shortly, or at least I'll definitely be locking in. Hopefully, you guys lock in as well. We were intrigued by them, and somebody else I want to look at. So Trevor Lawrence, I had some thoughts on Lawrence. I saw some EV in the market for his underpassing when I was looking at it yesterday. I hadn't looked at it too much today, but I'm curious as it moved. Again, nothing I bet pre-game so far here. Like, on stream a lot of the times I'm talking about stuff that we have bet. And on my blind tier pass here. So there we go. Okay. So this is, that's an alternate under. Yeah, this was about like 224 when I liked it yesterday. And we're seeing like 222. MGM, the best price available there for the 222 for the under. I'm a little bit torn because, like I said a bit earlier, I think that the Chiefs' pass defense is susceptible and can actually be beaten a little bit. Lawrence, I think, or I should say, I just don't know if at this point Lawrence is getting like a true bad rap or he does stink. Like, I'm somewhere this season specifically, I'm still somewhere in the middle. I am kind of the belief that he definitely does stink, but some of the numbers for these Jaguars receivers, I'll pull it back up again just for just to showcase them here. Some of these catch percentages, like LaQuint Allen, of course, outlier there. Hunter Long, a bit of an outlier as well. Brendan Strange doing a good job, but Tootin, 75%, very small sample size. Dammy Brown, 71%. Like everything is a small sample size, but at least that's like encouraging. Then you have Tim Patrick, crazy low. Travis Hunter, really not great. We know BTJ has been ridiculous, but he's still getting fed. And Parker Washington from the slot, even 50%. Like you wouldn't expect that from a slot receiver. You'd expect it to be that number to be a little bit high. How'd you see it? Yeah, this is 224. Got bet down, bet back up, bet down a bit again as well for Trevor Lawrence, looking at an outlier. Let's pull up this chart here. So I was looking at, like I said yesterday, in like the 224 range, which if you go back, yeah, that's 223.5. This was a couple days ago. Kind of like skimming through. We did get as high as 224, like I mentioned. I saw bet back down a bit as well, and this is the best number. Under against the Niners, under against the Texans. We know a tough matchup. Over against a bad Bengals team, and under against the Panthers. But are the Jags going to be able to establish the run here? That's going to be a very interesting question. We know the Chiefs are going to be able to are going to try to run the ball, and whether or not they're capable of, it's probably unlikely that they are. But I'm a little bit on the other side of Ty's thoughts here. I'm going to add Pacheco and I'm going to add ETN. So I'm going to look at both of these guys here in a second. But I'm of the belief that Pacheco might not be like cooked. Like, don't get me wrong. I know he is cooked, and Ty, I know, loves this market. So before I lock in, I'll wait for him here. But from a rushing share perspective, I don't want to go that far. I just want to look at this season. Of course, Pacheco came off an injury last year to play a little bit. This is just first quarter. Let's go to full game here.
Okay, I'm back.
Ty is back. What's going on? Was looking at some first quarter rushing yards. We got it on outlier, so we can take a look into some of the data. I know that you're a big fan of these first quarter props that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to take a Pacheco over, that's like the way to do it, honestly. I would say. Like, he'll be out there the first drive. I would think still.
Yeah.
What is the number at?
It is sitting at 4.5 minus 118 at FanDuel.
Oof, that's actually not bad.
No,
I think
not
he gets
bad.
2 carries in the first quarter.
Because I'm also not entirely sold that Pacheco is terrible. I hate to be that guy. I know you've mentioned that you're in that camp. Obviously, the numbers aren't backing me here, but in this small sample size league, like now we're at the point, Ty, like I know the rush share isn't favoring him whatsoever. This is 4-1, not a little crazy. Like,
yeah,
we talked about the red zone opportunities. Like we talked about Kareem Hunt. Like he has, twice as many red zone attempts as he has this year. Mahomes, of course, with the Superman mode, but is 4-1 for Pacheco not a little bit too far out?
4-1 does sound a little bit crazy. Like I said, not the Pacheco guy, but yeah, 4-1, dude.
Don't need you to be like, yep, betting it, locking it in, but like, you know how it is, brother. We talk ball, we talk markets, we talk numbers. Like we were talking about how Kareem Hunt being like plus 250 is a little bit low. And yes, there's a little bit more of a sample size for Hunt taking his rush shares in the red zone. It's quite literally what they've been doing. But 4-1 for technically a starting running back?
Yeah.
I don't know, Ty.
Yeah, no, I'm in complete agreement with you. Like, yeah, it's gross, but I see the vision.
This makes me want to go and take a look at how they're pricing him for first, which I'm doing as we speak. 20-1 for a first touchdown. Like, obviously, it's a first touchdown, so let's not want to get like too excited here. But DraftKings, best price in market here. FanDuel as low as 13-1. I'm betting that, and I think I'm not thinking twice, Ty. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. Look, first touchdown too. It's like maybe he gets like a drive to start. Yeah, I don't hate it. Is that the best price in market? The DraftKings stuff.
Best price in market we're seeing here. We don't have circa odds here. If you want to find that off, please be our guest. But even Kalshi 19-1, Novik 1750, Profit 1650, FanDuel as low as 13-1.
Yeah, that doesn't sound terrible at all.
No, it does not. And I'm actually locking that in, boys.
Yeah, 20-1, dude. Like,
I'll definitely be betting on both sides just because it's prime time and it's for fun. But I think my chief, of course, is a low likely proposition to happen. Any first touchdown is a tough market with not a ton of EV, if any EV at all, at certain points. I To me, Ty, if you get a starting running back at like 10-1, but I'm talking like a true starting running back, like say like ETN, like let's look at his price. If he was like 10-1, I would be inclined to take a look at that myself. But you're giving me 20-1 now on a guy who I know, has been falling out of favor here. But let's look at some other props. Yeah, ETN 7-1. Like that
Yeah.
to me at least makes sense. Like he's the starting running back. Like it's like a Bijan will be like 350 at some point. So like, don't get me wrong, we're not looking at anything like that, which is why I'd be somewhat intrigued. But I bet that Pacheco first touchdown 20-1.
Yeah. No, and like FanDuel at plus 1,300, right? Like FanDuel, that's like a pretty big disparity from, and we know how FanDuel is. Like their numbers probably going to be more realistic.
For sure. But Ty, right before you hopped off, we were going to talk about some Jaguars that you said you had some heavy leans on in this game. I did a little bit of a dive when you were gone. I am interested in De'Ami Brown, to say the least, a little bit today. Who was on your radar?
Okay. So if you go to like rushing yards for the Jags, just like rushing stuff in general, I think that ETNs ran really hot with these long runs. Tootin in like the first week that, Tank Bigsby after he got traded, it was an 8-14 split. ETN's he's been really good this year, and I do think he's a good player, but
Yep.
I think that the market split is off between these two. So like 64.5, 20.5. I think this is closer to like I guess I don't want to screw up the math here. What is this split like implying? Like a greater than 75, 25, slightly greater than 75, 25. I think it's like closer to like 65, 35. So that's like a lean that I have. The Chiefs' run defense is weird because they were really good last year. I think that the numbers are slightly making them look worse just because last week, if you remember, like Justice Hill had like a 70-yard touchdown in garbage time on the ground.
And yeah, decent receiving game as well out of the backfield.
Yeah. So the ETN Tootin stuff, I think that in terms of rushing, I think that's too big of a gap. I lean like slightly under on ETN and slightly over on Tootin. Another strong lean, and you're going to need something to reduce the juice because unless you're okay with just laying crazy juice. But ETN over 1.5 receptions, I was really high on his receiving role coming in due to Liam Cohen being there. Because if you remember last year, like the screen game to Bucky and Rashad White was like elite.
Ridiculous. Yep.
And ETN, in my opinion, just like it's a good buy low, right? It's like he had 0 catches and 1 catches in the last 2 weeks, 2 targets and 2 targets only. I get it. I think that ETN, I'd be pretty shocked if he didn't have 2 receptions here. So if you find something like to put it down a little bit, like maybe like I don't even know who I feel feels like a Tootin 10 plus rushing yards and ETN 2 receptions. I think that's pretty good.
PrizePicks has it looks like ETN's receiving yards at their 137 juice. So that would actually be EV if you're a PrizePicks player as a square to add ETN over 1.5 receptions here. But I'm glad you just mentioned receiving yards right now, Ty, because when you were gone, I was looking. It is only available at MGM, which is, annoying. But Tootin over 2.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, I did. So Tootin, I'm a little bit weird on because I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about Tootin. Like, what is like college? I know people like really liked him as a runner, but I will say they use like this like dude named LaQuint Allen a lot on third downs, which is maybe actually hurting ETN. Well, it definitely is. But yeah, so I guess 1 target, 2 targets in all the games. So he's had a target in every single game since he's had a role. I mean, you think that he's like a 6, 5.5 yards per target guy. So yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking about before. We're looking at some of the Quint stuff. You pulled up FTM. We'll dive right in again for a quick second here. Looking at some of the usage rates, and LaQuint actually had as we see, slightly lower target share, but he had a higher route run share than Tootin. He has a 29.7% route percentage, as well as Tootin has a 13.5% route percentage. So that's definitely why those numbers are skewed. And also, like, probably another reason why, like, FanDuel and DK aren't even offering receiving yard props on Tootin, or they're not offering them on Allen either, it's like the books are kind of saying they don't even want to pretend to like project and get involved in some of this Jaguars passing game from the running back stuff.
Yeah, I will say you mentioned De'Ami Brown. So this is pure narrative-y, but like I really do kind of like playing it. I think that the NFL is such a narrative like league, but just like Travis Hunter in prime time, like something about me is like is saying that Hunter is gonna actually have a pretty good game. Like I think one of my buddies, Lucas, who's a really good NFL bettor, said that this is Jacksonville's only primetime game of the year. And it's like Travis Hunter, this most hyped up, prospect, just like not necessarily to be good, but just like talked about and stuff. He's like very, very hyped up. Feel like he just has a game tonight, dude. Like it's pure vibes play, but like it's gross because he's not been very good, but it's what my gut's telling me.
I'm just curious what the markets are here for Hunter. Let's see where Travis Hunter, I feel like there he is. 32.5 receiving yards for Travis Hunter is the number. He went over that last game, 2 for 2 technically on the season in his young rookie campaign. Median 5.5 targets per game, which is 50% of their share. I don't blame you because he is still, as we see, like behind just Brenton Strange and Brian Thomas Jr. in terms of targets on the season. Parker Washington, who's a true slot guy. What do you make? What does this make you think though? Because this is how we move from the course of the week. Some pretty big movement from 39.5 to the current line of 32.5.
Yeah. So clearly people are thinking the same thing. Maybe you don't have a ton of value anymore. But yeah, man. I mean, like I said, Eric, I like at least having some numbers like behind my plays, and like there's really nothing behind Hunter besides like this. It just feels like destiny for him to have like a touchdown and like 50, 60 yards or something tonight. Like that's kind of like what I'm thinking.
So you would rather look to the receiving yards market, or would you rather look at the receptions for Hunter? Do you think he has a better chance of breaking something or of just getting fed some shorter routes?
I think he has a good game. So when I think of good game, I don't think of like 5 for like 30. I think of like the yardage total, And like I said, Eric, like this is like honestly like if anyone here who's like a professional bettor is listening to me like talk right now, you probably think I'm like a fucking idiot and like bears. But that's seriously just like what my gut is telling me.
No, listen, I totally understand the gut plays. There are some situations where they're like not gonna say that ball knowing equals winning bets, but there are times like think about everybody out here who like either whether you're betting yourself or you're actually a sharper EV bettor, and you'll be watching a game with your friends on the couch and you have, a 7.5% EV prop because you saw value, even if it's like Derrick Henry fading and he's like, nah, King Henry 2 touchdowns. What do you mean? And he runs in 2 touchdowns. Like in the NFL, I think you're definitely going to see that a little bit with these small sample sizes we deal with all year long.
Yeah. Or like, do you know what, Eric, what this feels like? This feels like prime Travis Kelce, playing against the Jason Kelce on prime time. And like, you just know he's going to have a big game. And like, it's so different, just like, but I don't know, man. This is like an entertainment thing. It's also like you can make an argument that it's a nice buy low too. If you're just like, cause I know like Matt Harmon, do you know who Matt Harmon is?
Sounds familiar, but off the top, not recollecting.
Yeah. So he like charts like receivers in college and the NFL and stuff. And like, he's very, very like probably the best in the business at like just like evaluating pure like target is like rail runners and stuff, and like he was like insanely high on Travis Hunter as like a prospect. So like if your opinion on Travis Hunter coming out that he's a generational receiver or like a very, very good receiver, then getting a low 30s line is probably like a nice just buy low anyways on a rookie who it makes sense why he started off slow, right? Like he's playing both sides of the ball. And
yeah, no, that's very well said. But speaking of potential buy lows, or I'm just curious, especially from like an origination perspective, because Ty runs his own numbers, if you guys are not aware, what makes him one of the sharper bettors that we work with and why we love Ty. But how are you pricing in the opportunities for Hunter versus obviously like the disappointments, the drops, etc.? Because he is getting spoon-fed. Obviously, as we see here, a chart of 0 for 4 on his current receiving yard numbers. We know the drops, but Ty, from like a pricing perspective, when does this become a buy low for you? Because you have to feel, as just a numbers guy, an 88.5% route percentage, a 21.6% target percentage, and a not 12.9% opportunity percentage for Brian Thomas Jr. That has to translate, does it not, eventually?
It does, but I'm just gonna hope. Here's how I'm playing this, Eric. I'm gonna hope that he just like sucks ass tonight. Trent McDuffie's probably gonna spend a decent amount of time on him. He's probably a top 5 corner. I agree. Like Brian Thomas last year, I mean, he was going in like early seconds, late first in fantasy football, which is definitely different. But I mean, fantasy football is a market too, to an extent, like ADP and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I agree. He's definitely more talented than 56.5. The more I watch Trevor Lawrence, though, and I know this goes against my Hunter play, but dude, the more I watch Trevor Lawrence, like the more I just think he's like totally incapable of like consistently, feeding an alpha receiver.
Well, here's the difference, though. We're talking about 32 targets in 4 games. Like that's not Puka numbers, but that's pretty solid numbers.
Yeah, like I'm not touching the under, like absolutely not. Like in my opinion, a borderline superstar receiver at 56.5 with a functioning quarterback, like absolutely not. But like I said, I just hope that he has a quiet game, and then next week we can get like 52.5, 53.5, and then I will be betting it for sure.
Absolutely. Speaking of Trevor Lawrence, we're talking about this while you were gone, Ty. His number has dropped a bit in market. This was not too much, but this was like 22.5 yesterday. We saw even earlier today was as high as 224.5. Now we're seeing a no vig odds of 216.5, minus 112, with FanDuel following suit around the 219 range for Trevor Lawrence. This also, does this not seem a bit like a low number for Lawrence? You look at some of the stuff for what it's done this year, of course, only over in 2 of these games, won by, depending on what the mark where you got into that bet, you could have been a winner or a loser, 2 well under. But again, we talked about ETN with these game-breaking runs, of course, taking away opportunities for Thomas to pick up yards, Lawrence to pick up yards, Travis Hunter to pick up yards, assuming they can cage in ETN from breaking a big one. Is this too low? But then it comes to the question, can we even assume they're going to stop ETN from breaking a big one? Because like obviously that's not a sticky stat, but ETN looks spry, man. He's toting the rock.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot going into this one, right? I think that, like, obviously you see in week 1 against the Panthers, ETN breaks a long one. The Panthers can't do shit. He only has 178. He also missed like Brian Thomas a ton. Yep. San Francisco, yeah, ETN breaks a big one. They're playing from ahead. I do think that it's like pretty neutral to slightly playing from behind here, which is obviously good for passing. Do think Chiefs, I will say, they are 4th in pass defense DVOA, so they're not no like easy ass team to throw all over and things to that extent.
No, but they also played Russell Wilson. I mean, listen, I think the Chiefs defense is very good. I'm just playing devil's advocate here because we did look at the schedule. Because I was talking about how Spags is going to lead this team to another, AFC chip. Like they have Mahomes, they're going to get Worthy back. This team is still good. But if we do want to like look at some of like the numbers per se, it's like that. Not like the Chiefs from a defensive perspective have played this, gauntlet of quarterbacks by any means.
Yeah, but I think DVOA. The thing is, DVOA accounts for the like who they're playing and stuff. Which why I really like DVOA. Absolutely. It's on FPN too, which you have pulled up.
Yes, sir.
Or you had pulled up. Great tool, by the way.
Absolutely,
really great tool. Yeah, no, I agree. And just being like a good pass defense doesn't necessarily mean like there's a lot more that goes into like a yardage prop, right? It's like explosive plays, it's game script, it's turnovers and stuff like that. Like if Trevor throws a pick 6, that's like great for his passing over, right? But that's like good defense gets a pick 6. Oh, but now they get the ball right back, and now it's a negative game script. So
yep,
I'd probably lean over slightly. I don't know. What's your take, Eric?
From just a pure market perspective, I had a lay that unfortunately didn't make it to this game, so I'm not sweating it anymore. Lost it to QJ over receiving yards yesterday, but in that lay, I saw EV at the under 224.5, but that was like pure market. That was like the rest of the market was like, and of course with passing yards, like 2 to 3 yards isn't like the biggest deal in the world. Of course, in every bet, you want to get the best number if possible for the obvious reasons, but I did like the under. I didn't play it straight, which I probably should have, and unfortunately I didn't. But that being said, though, that was just a pure, like, we're talking about sometimes it's pure market plays, there's pure ball knowledge plays. That team was a pure market play. I think Ty, like it's been a little bit, like, I want to say a little bit frustrating from us, just because, like, we don't love the game. We don't love the game. Like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah, agreed.
So
Yeah,
we still have the two boosts that I want to use. Have you figured out how you want to use your 50% boost on FanDuel just yet?
Yeah, I did. So this is what I'm going to do. Like I said, I think that I see value personally on the ETN on ETN under rushing. I just think that the ETN Tootin split is a little bit off. I'd have ETN probably around like 58.5 and Tootin around like 25.5. So I'm going to take ETN under Tootin over, easy correlation for 2 legs, and then I mentioned this earlier, but Worthy 100 plus rushing and receiving yards. So that's going to be 13-1 about with the boost, get you about 20-1.
Ty's using that 50% boost. I have that 30% boost that I can use on any bet, but Ty with going with a little correlation there, as well as an alternate for Worthy, which we talked about kind of at the beginning of the show here. Ty, from a first touchdown perspective, I locked in Pacheco at 20-1 because I think that's kind of egregious, despite the lack of usage, potentially the Smith coming on. We know how Andy Reid loves to run Hunt into walls, but 20-1 for like a potential still RB1 to me is kind of out there. Is a Travis Hunter first touchdown even worth it at 19-1? Like, I think I'd want a little bit better than that, honestly.
I think he scores tonight, dude. Like I said, it's a gut thing. I'll probably use him for my token and get like their $20 win. Is there even a token for FanDuel?
No, not seeing a token tonight. Again, it probably is state dependent, but all I got was the option between the 30% boost and the 50%. I took the 30%.
Oh, sorry, what was that? I'm sending in like my parlay.
No, you're all good. I did not see another additional token. I saw that one boost, and that was that.
Okay, yeah. So, damn, they're done with the touchdown jackpots. It's kind of sad.
I think it'll come back for maybe a week. Because even DraftKings, like FanDuel's had it for every game. DraftKings did theirs, and then like took it off and put it back on. So I guess we'll see. Travis Hunter most receiving yards 10-1. Is that crazy? I think it might be a little bit crazy.
Yeah,
I think
I do.
be a little bit better.
Yeah, I just like I said, I think he has a good game, but like just like with how he's been so far, it's kind of tough to envision like a 90-yard game or something. And not saying he needs 90 yards, so like 90 yards can't get you the leading receiver, but it's hard to like envision like a true ceiling game. Like if Brian Thomas had 130 tonight, would anyone bat an eye? Probably not. If Worthy had 100, would anyone bat an eye? Probably not. If Hunter had 100, that kind of just sounds crazy.
It does. And 10-1 is definitely still big, of course. I am using my boost on Worthy 30% for most receiving yards at plus 250. With the boost, that gets me to plus 326. Him and Brian Thomas were the two leaders in that market at FanDuel, both at plus 250 for the most receiving yards in the game. We know Worthy came out with the extra injury report for him, but like you just were mentioning, I wouldn't be batting an eye for Xavier Worthy, a guy who they target downfield to come up and have an absolutely massive game tonight.
Yeah, and that's definitely the right way to play it. Like I would have him favored over BTJ easily to lead the game in receiving yards. So,
and now we're locking a little bit of a longer shot there. BTJ again, that ridiculous target share is can't be ignored, but it just does not translate into anything with a mixture of drops, a mixture of hospital balls from Lawrence, a mixture of overthrows, and some nonsense. But Ty, I still have this 25% profit boost on DraftKings. It's a 2-legger, actually giving me a max bet of plus 300 or longer.
Yep.
I'll max bet 25. So let me see. I doubt it'll get there, but let's see. What was that exact bet you made with the Pacheco the ETN Tootin correlation?
Yep, just ETN under 64.5, Tootin over 20.5, and then Xavier 100 plus rushing and receiving. So I wanted to put the receiving in there for sure. I don't know what the rushing in there, because just they love to give him these like end arounds and stuff, and with his speed, like Like you're going to be pissed if he rips like a 30-yarder off and you don't like get anything for it. And so
Absolutely.
I think that's worth it.
So let's do a little bit of guns ahead here. Of course, game time's coming up soon. Where is your head at? I know you're not a huge like spread better, but I guess like I know you are, of course, like in the weeds with the NFL and have opinions on the games and the outcomes at the very least. Are the Jaguars legit at 3-1? Now, of course, legit can mean a lot of different things here, but what's your like general take? I already spoke how I'm still high on KC. I think KC to the moon. Buy your KC Super Bowls. Buy your KC Mahomes MVPs. Like I'll never riding out KC. But I'm interested in Jacksonville, just generally speaking. What about you, Ty?
Yeah. I don't see them as a team that can step up in class personally. I think that they're good. I think they're because I really like Liam Cohen. I do. And I think that they have a good team. They don't have Trayvon Walker, which is a pretty big blow to their defense. Yeah. So if you're asking the opinion on the spread, dude, unfortunately, I think the spread's like priced perfectly. Because I mean, anything 3 and under would be like, I feel, I don't, like I said, I feel very strongly of KC winning this game, but then KC just like, they're not a win by margin team. So you're getting the 3.5. That's exactly where I'd set this line, and I do not have an opinion on it. I think it's literally perfectly set, and it probably is because it's like 10 minutes before the kickoff.
Absolutely. I'm in the same boat as you. So I think the Chiefs should come out of Duval with W. I'm a big Liam Cohen guy as well. I think this Jaguars defense, they've done a good job so far this season, like we mentioned earlier, especially against the run here. And the Chiefs, like outside the Chargers week 1, which was like a reinvigorated team, that Ravens win, like you talked about earlier, isn't looking nearly as good as you would think it would look, despite like even like this week with the Texans putting up a 40 piece on them like it was nothing. There was like immense cluster injuries to that defense. So the Ravens actually are still currently favored to win the North, which I think at this point might be a little bit.
That's insane, dude.
Yeah, actually, I'll pull it up as well quickly. I saw it from a tweet, so I don't know. I haven't like checked the market. Like it was a tweet from FanDuel interface. So like, don't get me wrong. I obviously believe the tweets, but that was 6 hours ago. Of course, in the last hour, things could have changed if money did come in. But I don't know. There was some Cleveland at like 17-1. My boy Jake actually called it out to me. That's like somewhat intriguing, at least.
Yeah.
But let's -1. It was -115. But now it's -105.
Wow.
The Ravens still favored to win the North. That is a little bit buck wild to me, especially with Lamar at least missing it, looking like at least 2 more games, definitely 1 more game, probably.
Yeah, who do they play next week? I mean, they need to get some defensive players back.
Absolutely.
But they play the Rams. Okay, that's a loss. Stafford. Rams are coming off 2 losses, correct? Or no? They
lost
Rams
on Thursday, and they beat the Colts, and that nonsense.
Yeah,
Rams. Why I say that?
Eric, are you a guy who likes to like? I think I like betting off of team. Like if I bet spreads, I'd probably instantly just like look to the Rams. I like them coming off of a loss because maybe a Ravens team without Lamar, you might underrate them and stuff. But given that they just lost to like a Mac Jones, no receiving core 49ers team, I'd be shocked if they like came in and were sleepy and just like understated this Ravens team just because they did just kind of underrate a team and paid the price for it. So I doubt that they do that 2 weeks in a row. So
absolutely, and Cooper Rush is pretty abysmal realistically as well. And the extra rest for Sean McVay, I don't know situationally how he does, but the mini bye coming off Thursday, and I would have to bet that, of course, being an NFC West matchup where Shanahan and McVay, of course, know each other for a long time at this point. There's no way they're going to be underrating another backup after what Mac Jones cooked up against them.
Yeah.
But that linebacking core for the Rams is tough. But Ty, I saw you on Twitter yesterday tweet out your Henry fade, which fantastic. This could be a little bit early, and we want to still find one more first touchdown for this game. But this could be another situation depending on how the odds come out for Henry potentially.
Yeah. Dude, here's the thing. Derrick Henry is not going to be an efficient. Derrick Henry, as good as he is, he's not a good running back when he's like what makes him a good running back is his ability to house stuff. Like he's constantly kind of just like picking up like 2 yards between the tackles and stuff like that. And Lamar Jackson like made Gus Edwards a 5 yards per carry guy for his like literally every single year. I mean, just like the running lanes you get with Lamar and the threat of his legs and just like the threat of his passing game too. I mean, teams are just going to stack the box, and I think more times than not, he's going to be under 3.5 yards per carry personally. And it's like, you're just kind of, it's just going to come down to if he gets an explosive run or not for his yards, but it's way less likely that he does get one without Lamar.
Yeah, it's so much more tough to break one, and that's something that as like even I was breaking down Commanders games without JD5, I was mentioning that same situation where when you don't have that additional threat, it makes things so much more difficult. I think that's a very underrated aspect of like the RPO. Like, a lot of people think it's like, oh, it's so simple. It's not. You need that quarterback with the threat to make it work and be worth its while. And with that being said, Ty, like Henry, especially because he is, in its purest form, a running back, like he's not a weapon a la a Bijan, a la a Gibbs, a la even like a Saquon. So if Henry is in a box, he's going to have a tough time getting out of that box unless he breaks a 60, 70 plus yarder, which we all know is in his bag. But if Henry, it's been all his career. Like if you actually don't let him get downhill and you make those tackles, he's going to have some tough sledding.
Yeah, exactly. He's not like going up to a hole and getting shifty and like weaving his way for like 5. He's just like kind of running straight, and if there's a hole there, he's housing it. If not, he's getting like 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah, if you try to tackle it back at the shoulder pads, you're gonna have a bad time. But you're going right for those legs and you're diving at him. You have a chance before he gets to speed running. But Ty, game time started soon. I gave out my first tutty for Pacheco. I think you got to put a G to head run here and I'll ride. So talk to me.
Well, just, like I said, if I think that Travis Hunter is going to score a touchdown, let's just say he scores the first one.
Absolutely. I'm curious here, though. Did this move? DraftKings down to 15-1 on Pacheco. Ooh. So we sniped that 20-1, boys. We sniped that. That is old-fashioned Chris Kyle right there, sniping using outlier. Let's look at the TD scores here. I'll see the best odds in the market, but yeah, Pacheco got hit. That was 20-1 when we bet that. But let's see for Travis Hunter. I'm with you, Ty. I'll ride all day long with my boy. Let's see best odds in market. Seeing a 20-1 on Profit X. Let's look at the rest of the market here. If you guys are not using Profit X, promo code BetSmart, highly recommend Novig 1941. We'll look at the liquidity on both. Worst case DK 19-1 flat, but we'll see how much liquidity is at Profit X here. Pulling it up. Let's do it.
There is
$43.
All right, so you want to split it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. Let me see. Profit X.
I'll put 20 down.
No, thanks for notifications. Let's see. Come on. Log me in here. Oh god.
Yeah, I'm trying to log in too, dude. Damn. Okay.
Honestly, somebody in chat beats me to it. I'm not mad as long as it's somebody who's watching the stream. I want you guys to get it. I want to get out the best prices, of course, for everybody as well.
I'll save some. I'll do $10.
Come on here. Might have to actually. I think I have it logged on my computer. Let me see if I have my password saved. There we go. Sending me a code. Of course, the prediction market's doing a great job with their 2FA. Gotta always give the boys credit where it's due. Proceed. Profit X plus 2,000. I'll put $10 on that. Chat, feel free to hop in and get some of that as well. And at Novig, let's see what the liquidity was for the 1941. Of course, these markets are always a little bit under. Not as ton of liquidity for the obvious reasons here, but I'm sure as both of these platforms begin to grow, $60 at 1941 plus 1,500 is only at 500. Some of that was just bought actually there at Novig, but DK is hanging again at 19-1, so it's not like there's nothing out there for the boys. We of course would not be finding anything where there was nothing to find, but we got something right there, 19-1. Pacheco's anytime went down to 3-1, and the first touchdown down to 15-1. So we did our job as gamblers there. But Ty, thank you for hopping on. I appreciate it, guys. We know that the game is starting soon, so we'll let you guys lock in your own final personal bets for what we've bet so far. Ty, give out your lay again and just remind the boys what you bet, and then also, of course, plug yourself in straight betting.
Yep. So, just two bets. Both are not like normal bets. I played I believe a 20-1 with a 50% boost on FanDuel. It was like Worthy 100+ rushing and receiving. I think that like he's just by far like the alpha here. And if he survives the whole game and actually like is healthy, I think that, it's very, very likely to happen. And then I played Tootin over 21.5 and ETN under 64.5 in the parlay. Just in my opinion, I think that the split is closer than the market's implying. So let's just correlate those and get two legs in there.
Love that. I'm telling Ty on that. I also bet. So for me, with my boost, I have Pacheco, first touchdown, 20-1. I did Worthy, most receiving yards, 30% boost FanDuel, plus 326. And Travis Hunter, first touchdown, 19-1.
Yep.
Love talking about the game. What's up, Ty?
That too. I played the Hunter first touchdown. I forgot to say that.
Yes, sir. Guns ahead, I'm taking the Chiefs, and I would, I guess, lay it, but I haven't bet it, so like definitely don't run to the window with that not compelling sales pitch I just gave you guys there. But no, I think we should be in for at least a good one. We'll see if the Jaguars really are on the up and up. This is, of course, a litmus test for them and like a Chiefs spot where they should be able to get some things going, but only we can find out with whatever happens on the field. Guys, shout out to Ty for hopping on. Love having him once a week, Ty. Tell the boys where they can find you. And then again, thank you for hopping on.
Yes, sir. So you can find me on Twitter at TyvanSB. I don't really use it much, but I actually posted a free play. And usually I do YouTube. I didn't have a YouTube video because I didn't have a play. So I'm like, okay, I got that.
It's tough.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna post a video if I don't have a play and just like talk about stuff. Even though maybe I should have. I probably should have. But yeah, usually I post for like every primetime game and obviously like twice a week for the Sunday slate. So, and of course NBA coming up. I'm going to be trying to post close to daily for that too. And NBA is like kind of my shit more than NFL. So if you guys are into NBA, definitely give me a follow on Twitter and a sub on YouTube.
I'll also be absolutely streaming some NBA content with Ty. I cannot wait for that. It's coming toward the end of the year. But thank you for being in chat, 888 strong. Appreciate every single one of you guys for hopping in. I'll be live again Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. So off tomorrow, but you know how it is. Wednesday show is always best bets, whole game perspectives and touchdowns. Thursday show, Thursday night football. Friday show, all things props. Sunday show, best stream. That's the first touchdowns, the use of the boost, the going through player props that we are finding some like a last minute EV. That's always one of the best streams. So make sure if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching on X, follow Echo Bet Smart. If you're watching on X, go to YouTube and subscribe to Echo Bet Smart. Dropped a new video today. Have a bunch of other content in the pipeline coming out this week, short form, long form. Always amazing stuff. So thank you guys for hopping in. Let's hit some fire bets, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Peace.